Hi, welcome back to Vino Experienza by David Alexander. Thank you all for subscribing to the channel, and I would like to encourage you to reply, ask questions, make comments. Those are things that are also really helpful for us as far as a channel to get noticed on the YouTube channels and have people enjoy this and maybe increase our audience members as well. So today, what we're going to do is something that I have thought about for a while, is to do some comparison between two similar wines. And this is what we're wanting to do, is to contrast the maybe more expensive wines to the less expensive wines, talk about the difference. What is the benefit to buying the, maybe in this instance, a $35 bottle compared to the $15 bottle? There are going to be some major differences and some minor differences, and the biggest thing we want to look at is that value for the money. Are we getting better value as we spend more money on the wines? Okay, so today we're going to be comparing two California Cabernets. Now, as we know, Cabernet is the most widely recognized varietal in the world. I've said it many times before. If you want to grow a grape that's easy and make some wine with that, grow some Chardonnay. It's a perfect grape. It grows really well in a lot of different climates, a lot of different soil types, and it's fairly expressive of the winemaker and the soil that it's grown in. But if you want to make some money, grow some Cabernet, because that's where the money's at. Cabernet is going to be your big money maker. That's the one that's going to gain hundreds of dollars for the bottle if you make a really good one and you can get that money for it. Many people have asked me, is a $500 bottle worth it? Well, it doesn't really matter whether I think it's worth it or not. Are people willing to pay it? That's the important issue. And so there's people out there that are saying, hey, listen, I just talked to a guy yesterday. Sold a couple of very expensive bottles to him, and he has a wine fridge with hundreds of bottles, and he's storing these up, and he's got a nice little collection, and so he's willing to pay that money. But today we're talking about something much more affordable, something that can be affordable to anybody that wants to go out and enjoy a nice Cabernet. Um, in California, uh, also, let me let you know that nearly every major wine producing nation produces a cab. It's very hard to find nations that aren't growing some cab. In California, we have 94,906 acres in California growing Cabernet Sauvignon. And every year, well, actually, not every year, but last year, 2024, we had 454,000 tons and some change crushed in 2024. Boy, that is a lot of grapes that are crushed for wine. In the mountain areas, talking about Napa, for example, in Napa, we have 1 to 2 tons per acre grown in the mountains of Napa, and in the valleys, we have 4 to 8 tons per acre that's grown there, because it's such a huge Cabernet producing area. And California also has some of the highest ABVs in the world in regards to our cabs. Part of that is because our sunshine, our weather is conducive to very ripe grapes, which is causing the ABV to be able to go up higher because of that sugar content in there. It's also stylistically, we produce very boozy wines. I did a class the other day about European wines compared to domestic wines. Domestic wines are much higher in ABV than the wines around the world. And that's because of our style, the style that we make the wines in. We want those wines to be really hefty, both in flavor and also in ABV. So the two wines we're going to look at today, we are going to look at First and Local, which is actually a second label to Josh Winery. And the other one is going to be the Courtney Benham. Let me talk about those individually for a moment, then we're going to taste them, and we'll talk about the difference in the taste. Josh is part of a conglomerate called Deutsch Family Wines. The Deutsch family wines produce 7.5 million cases of wine annually. 7.5 million. This particular bottle is a 2020 vintage. Again, this is $14.99 for this bottle. And I'm also going to include the tech sheets on both of these bottles in the video, so you can take a closer look at that. It's described as round, juicy, easily enjoyed, aged in French and American oak with no age statement, so we don't know. And probably that at least is a few months, probably not longer than a year, but probably a few months. And it's going to be a fairly soft, easy drinking wine. I call it the supermarket wine. So this is, again, First and Local is a label of the Josh Company. So Josh, available in every grocery store in the United States. I mean, just absolutely incredible, the number of wines that are being produced by that. And what is it made for? It's made for, hey, listen, when you're on the way home, you need a wine for dinner, you grab a bottle at the supermarket. That's what it's about. It's like, hey, let's just grab a bottle. Now, the other one we're going to look at is Courtney Benham. Now, Courtney Benham, now this is more limited production. Courtney Benham actually has 3 labels: Courtney Benham, Martin Ray, and Angeline. Owned by Courtney Benham, is actually the owner of the winery. And I love Courtney Benham because of the fact that he is a leader in sustainable farming. Now, a lot of people ask, well, what's sustainable farming? Well, sustainable farming is basically organic farming without certification, what it really comes down to. Dry farming, natural sources of both fertilization and pest control, using some really more healthy methods of producing this wine. And I like it because it's a callback to old world wines. They're not going to make vast production of these wines because of the fact that the natural wine is not going to be very economical for a winemaker. So they're going to charge a little bit more money for the wines. Now, you can find Angeline for $12. I mean, it's not a super expensive wine, but at the same time, he's making some of these more, I would say, distinctive wines, and they're going to be a little bit more. The bottle we're looking at is $34.99. This was, for this bottle, limited production. 1,125 cases were produced in a run. What they'll do is they'll set aside the grapes until they get enough grapes, and then they'll do a limited production run. So it's not something that they're just pumping out wine all the time. They're taking the time with it and actually making sure that the juices that are coming out, the grapes that are in this wine, are more of a premium style grape. Described also very, very similar to the Josh, juicy, rich, and refined with supple tannins. This is 18 months in 45% new French and American oak. Now, the Courtney Benham, as opposed to the Josh is, again, part of the Deutsch family that does 7.5 million. Courtney Benham only does 600,000 cases a year. So this is a very limited production in comparison. And it's family owned. It's as opposed to the conglomerate of the Deutsch family, that it says Deutsch family, but it's a huge, huge enterprise. It's one of the top 10 winery consortiums in California. Huge. Okay, so let's taste these and just compare them. First of all, we've got the First and Local, made by Josh. Very soft, easy drinking wine. I had a glass of this last night when I came home from work, just to relax, and it was a very easy drinking wine. Not lots of round, supple flavors to it. It is definitely something that you could have with any meal. It's a sipping wine as well. It's something that's easily enjoyed, and actually a pretty good value at $15, because the fact is you can use this for, like I said, multiple sipping and dinner wine. It's not going to be something you want to put with your filet mignon, but hey, listen, it's a good wine. Second, the Courtney Benham. Biggest difference you taste on this one: the acidity level's higher, which makes this more of a food wine. This is something that I'm going to have to want this with a nice meal. And this is going to open up a little bit. The other one has been open all night. Not the bottle hasn't been open, but it was opened yesterday, so it has had some time to breathe. This one was just opened a little while ago. This will actually open up even more, and it is. But rich flavors, structure in the wine, $35. So the difference between these two wines, you have a casual sipper in your First and Local, Josh, and in your Courtney Benham, you have something that's a little bit more distinctive and refined. Those higher levels of acidity make it more a very, very suitable food wine. That when you pair that with a nice steak, it's going to work really well because that acidity is going to be swallowed up by the juiciness of the meat. You're going to have an incredible experience with that. So, really, two good wines, two different purposes. You know, we kind of joke and we say some wines are Tuesday wines and some wines are Friday wines. Well, here we go. We've got a Tuesday wine, we've got a Friday wine. First and Local, great Tuesday wine. Your Courtney Benham, Reserve Napa, 2019 vintage, fantastic wine for dinner. And I'm going to include this information on the video as well for you as well. Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and encourage your friends. We're trying to grow the channel. Want as many people as possible to enjoy these communications about wine and about enjoying the experience of wine. So God bless. Thank you so much. Bye bye.